This episode is brought to you by our patrons. Thank you so much for being a patron. And if you're not one and you'd like to become a patron, just jump on over to patreon.com/LunchTimeTechTalk. Now, on with our show. Chad.
What's up, bro?
A long weekend. We had a 3-day weekend.
Recharge, rejuved. I'm back.
Feeling good?
I feel so good.
Good. Anything exciting happen over the weekend? Or did nothing exciting happen?
The Chiefs won the AFC Championship.
Oh, yes, they did.
And are headed to the Super Bowl for the first time in 50 years.
Can you believe that I watched that game and the 49er-Packer game? I did. I watched it.
So technically, I know that you had the TV on during the 49er-Packer game, but that was not a game that you watched.
It was something.
That was a beatdown.
There was a ball thrown around.
Yes.
I was actually kind of sad about that.
I am surprised that you watched both games.
Yeah.
What? Were you feeling okay?
I had a fever. No.
I couldn't get out of bed.
No, my kids, they really wanted to watch it. So, I enjoy watching them when it makes sense to me. Because whenever they're playing at the very beginning, of the season, and it's like there are games that are pointless, and then there's games that aren't pointless.
Right.
And I don't keep track of all that. Whenever it gets down to like this point where there's maybe like
where
4 or 5 games,
for sure that it matters.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 games until the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm good. The bracket's small enough.
You're
at
locked
that point.
in.
Yeah, I can do it, and I do enjoy it. Like it's fun to watch. I mean, the Chiefs games are fun to watch because I don't know about you, but the commentary on the Chiefs game was so much better than the commentary on the 49ers.
Yes,
Green Bay.
Yes. So there are a few broadcast teams that I like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The Tony Romo broadcast team, which is who did the Chiefs game,
mm-hmm.
is really good. Like,
it's just,
when you listen to Tony,
I
feel like you learn something.
Yeah, that, and there's no breaks. Like, there's not long lulls. Like, I felt like in the 49ers game, I was like, okay, they're really not saying anything.
Yeah, so Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are dry. And Troy's not telling you anything that you didn't already know. He just speaks in cliches and all of that.
And this is the dude that did the
Green Bay
Green
game.
Bay. Okay, yeah.
So, luckily, you'll get to watch them for the Super Bowl, too.
They're doing the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
The people who did the Chiefs aren't doing the Super Bowl?
No.
Oh.
It's on Fox, and that's Fox's #1 broadcast group.
Darn.
Maybe
they'll bring somebody in. Are they going to have a third person?
No.
No?
No. I mean, they'll have field reporters.
And I hope they make it a little more exciting. Because I was just like, wow, this seems really
I wish
dry.
that it was NBC's group. I wish that NBC had the Super Bowl. Their field graphics and stuff are always better. I feel like the stats and stuff that they put up on the screen are always better than any other game you see that week.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Collinsworth and... So, the 1980 Olympics, the Miracle on Ice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in miracles? Like that guy,
mm-hmm.
He's the same guy who does the NBC Sunday night games with Chris Collinsworth.
Okay.
I can't think of his name right now. But they're really good together.
Yeah.
And he'll even kind of codedly talk about gambling lines.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't come right out and say it because it's still, kind of passe to
mm-hmm.
talk about gambling. But
yeah.
At the end of a high-scoring game,
mm-hmm.
he'll be like, there's a lot of people in America right now hoping that no one scores again.
What do you mean?
And you're like, oh, okay, we must be getting close to the over-under.
Yeah. That's funny. It was fun to watch them. I enjoyed them. My girls, I taught them a few things. I don't watch a lot of football, but I do know some stuff about it, so I taught them some stuff. So that was fun. Other than that, anything exciting?
Other than that, yesterday was the first day since the kids have been born that I was home with my wife and the kids weren't there.
Oh, nice.
For the whole day. So daycare, normally for Martin Luther King Day, daycare is closed.
Mm-hmm.
But we had those snow days. And the kids had a makeup day.
Yeah.
Springfield never makes up days,
mm-hmm.
except for at the end of the year.
Yep.
And so Laura got to be home, nice. I got to be home, and the kids went to daycare. and it was really nice. We got some chores done around the house, got to watch some TV.
Yeah.
Like, we just got to hang.
Cool.
It was nice.
Yeah, Jessica was off work too with me, which was nice. And of course, our kids went to school also. We bought a piece of furniture for underneath our TV that she had been eyeing for a very long time.
Yeah.
We just finally went and picked it up. But yeah, my weekend was pretty relaxed. I mean, there wasn't a ton going on, so that was pretty nice. I think there was something that happened Saturday, but that was so long ago I can't remember what it was.
Right.
And then all the football games happened, and we just laid around the house all day on Sunday. And then on Monday I did a Zwift race, and my goal for that Zwift race was to hurt myself really badly.
Success?
Yes, it was one of the hardest races I've done in a long time. I thought it was going to be Sand and Sequoia route, but it wasn't. It was like reverse hilly Watopia, 2 laps. And my first goal is to see how long I could stay with the top 10 in the D group.
Okay.
Which, as you know, they're not regulated, so
Sure,
it's very
sure,
difficult to
sure.
stay in the top 10 of everything.
Uh-huh.
We know how you feel about Zwift races, so...
And well, how you feel too.
Yes.
Those D's could be C's or even just B's that want an easy day.
Yes, it was very difficult to stay with them. I stayed with the top 10 for about...
My hamstrings hurt just hearing you talk about this. Like,
I stayed with the top 10 for about the first 3 miles, and I was actually number 1 for probably half a mile of those 3 miles. I was right there in the switching between first and third. We were back and forth.
yeah?
And then I kind of faded back just a little bit, and I wound up...
Was it... Okay,
Mhm.
I want some breakdown here.
Okay.
When you faded, was it like... Was there one moment where you knew, like a little hill or something that, like, they got away from you and you went, oh, I know I'm never getting them back? Or was it just a gradual, like, you lost them and you just couldn't
It
get
was
it?
multiple hills that caused it. Just little rollers, basically. Because whenever you do the reverse, you go through those S's or whatever
Uh-huh.
they call them.
Uh-huh.
And so the top 10 people basically, like, faded away really fast. Like they went away really quick after that 3 miles. Like, I probably was going close to 3 watts per kilogram that whole time.
Dang.
And so they were over 3 watts per kilogram whenever they dropped me.
And to remind everybody, 2.5 is supposed to be the top end of the D group.
The very top end. In some races, that's actually the bottom end of the C group,
Right.
depending on how they do it. So
Oh,
it's
right.
weird
Because
because
you might be 2.49 as the top end of
well,
D.
in some of the races, they actually show the D group goes to 2.5, and some of the D groups go to 2.4.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, depends on what race you were in.
So there's a tenth in there that's kind of debatable about
Right.
C or D.
So I'm pushing it. I know I'm going to be C group at this point. So I'm racing what I would consider like illegally in
Sure.
my mindset.
Sure.
And, which I knew that was okay, but because this is like, I am pushing myself, like, heart rate as high as I can, and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to either crash at some point, and I'm just not going to be able to go any further.
Right. All the
Or
matches are going to be burned.
I'm somehow going to make it through this.
Uh-huh.
Because it was only an 11-mile race. It wasn't like it was 20 miles or whatever.
Okay.
And,
I'll tell you what, if I had been pushing 3 for 3 miles, I wouldn't have the other 8 left in me.
well, I was hurting pretty bad at that point. I think my heart rate was like 185 or something.
Jeez.
Which is high for me on a bike.
Yeah.
And so eventually they dropped me, and my goal at that point was like, okay, I want to stay in the top 20. I wound up staying in the top 20. I did way over. I did 2.7 was my average watts per kilogram, which in my mind is way over for a D.
Yeah.
That's like a rarity that a D should ever be able to get to that. So I've told myself,
It's
now
time
that
to
I
move
know,
up.
and I've finished the other races before this, like at 2.5.
Like right at.
Yeah, so I told myself, all right, the next race, I'm going to start racing in the C group, even though I know I'm going to get smoked. And I woke up
But
this
that's
morning.
the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do. But I woke up this morning with really dead legs and signed up for a 6.8 mile race on sand and sequoias.
Tonight?
Today, this morning.
Oh.
Yeah, I already did it this morning, which is, what day are we? Well, this is Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I already did it this morning. And I think I averaged like 2.2 watts per kilogram. My legs were dead.
Well, yeah, after you did that yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't finish last, so that was a good thing. I actually finished in a place. I was 40th out of 45.
Top 40, bro. Just don't even talk about how many are there.
Top 40, yes. But I was really surprised because in that race that I finished 19th at, I thought there was only 150 people. But I went back and looked at my race results screenshot, and there was like 210.
Oh, wow.
So I did really good.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Now I'm a C rider at the very bottom. But that's nice. Okay.
I've never been a C rider.
I have been for a very short period of time. And that's about it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's my weekend.
Cool.
So, this week, I was going to talk about, do you remember Wise Cams? You remember them? We've talked about them a couple times.
Yeah, no, I like them. Little white cubes.
You know
they do have black now too.
Yes, which is cool.
I'll get to it on the other side of the music.
All right. So, their AI software that we had talked about in the past about losing the contract with to detect people.
Yeah.
Well, we have the people who bought them.
We have some tea.
Yes, the people who bought them, and it actually goes really well with our podcast.
It really does.
And then I wanted to talk about big news for Apple TV Plus service, something that was a huge announcement whenever they talked about the service first coming out. Did you have anything?
And I'm going to say words on the other side of the music.
All right, let's get to those words.
Let's do it. Welcome back to Lunchtime Tech Talk. I'm Chad.
And I'm Mike.
Yeah. I was going to say, so I said little white cubes.
Uh-huh.
And then I said, well, they actually have black too.
Mm-hmm.
What? Gosh, there was some announcement last week. Anyway, the guy was wearing a matte black everything, which is MKBHD's t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so cool. Like, I know he's a big tech guy, but normally, like, the presenter of a new product isn't going to be wearing a reviewer of products merchandise.
Right.
But they were.
Yeah.
And I wish I could remember the product now, but I can't. But
That's
I thought it was cool. Yeah.
I imagine MKBHD was like...
That's where I heard about it.
Oh,
because he retweeted it. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So, yeah, basically... okay, I'm going to get this wrong. And you're going to have to help me with this. The name of the AI software was...
Spell it.
It's XNOR, and then they do .ai.
Correct.
So I would say Nor. What would you say?
I would say Schnorr.
I like that so much better.
The only reason is in Chinese,
Uh-huh.
X usually has an SH sound. And I have no idea if this is a Chinese company, but that's why I would say it.
You are using logic and smarts for this.
And you just want to leave it off because it's hard.
I just figure Schnorr sounds much funnier. I want to make some joke to that, but I can't.
Right. There's nothing. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, Schnorr.
Schnorr.
So
maybe they say XNOR.
They could. But we're going to call them Schnorr from now on.
Schnorr.
So, LunchTimeTechTalk was the company that basically made artificial intelligence people detection inside the Wise Cams possible. And it was an independent company outside of WiseCam that contracted with them to put the software on their cameras. But the cool part about this company is that their software lived on the camera. It wasn't a cloud-based application.
Right, it didn't have to go up and then come back down.
Yeah, which made it super unique because everybody else was like, we're going to do this in the cloud because it's easier. We got more processing power. Well, the company got bought out by another company, and we found out this last week who it was. It was bought by Apple.
Yeah, they did.
And that's a real interesting purchase, and it actually falls really in line with Apple's thought process on this. Because Apple does all kinds of stuff on device. They do a lot of Siri stuff on device. They do photo analyzing on device. As we said before in the past, Apple's really big on privacy, so they don't want to do a lot of the processing in the cloud because they don't want your data to be up there mingled with other people's data. Unlike all the other major companies, Google, Amazon, all those, they're all doing everything up in the cloud for the most part.
Right.
So for Apple to buy this company, it actually makes really good sense. And I didn't even think about this at all because I didn't think about Apple buying a camera AI company. But it works really good because they have HomeKit, right?
Right.
And they have camera integration that they're really trying to get involved with.
Yeah.
And now there's a possibility that whatever camera you have, if it's HomeKit compatible, could have person detection because of this.
Right.
Built into HomeKit, not built into the camera, but built into HomeKit, which comes along with the camera.
Right.
They also say, Macworld was saying that they think that this might be some way to make Siri more intelligent.
Oh, yeah? I mean, it is an AI company.
Yes. I mean, it wouldn't take much
to
make her more intelligent.
Yeah.
Because I asked her when the last time the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl and she just pulled up a whole bunch of articles. And then I opened up my Alexa app and asked the same question, and she gave me the legit answer.
Yeah, which was?
1967 and 1970 were the 2 years that they have been in the Super Bowl.
Technically true, but 66 and 69 were the seasons.
Oh, yeah.
So just like this is the 2019 season, but the Super Bowl is going to be played in 2020.
Right. But I asked when they played.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, it was like January 2nd or 3rd or 4th. Like, it was early January. And now we don't play the Super Bowl until February.
Yeah.
Crazy. All those extra games.
Mm-hmm. Extra games. But yeah, no, this is kind of neat. It's going to be one of those things. It's probably going to be buried for a while. We won't see it in Apple technology for a long time.
Yeah.
But
they own the company and they're working on something.
It is neat. I am sad that Wise had to deal with all this.
Yeah.
And that I'm going to be losing some functionality in my cameras that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
But I know that it will cost Wise a lot of money, and they've looked into this before, but HomeKit compatibility would be pretty sweet. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I had on that.
Okay.
The other thing was, back whenever Apple TV Plus service was announced, they had this big show where Oprah Winfrey came out, and Steven Spielberg, and Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell, they all got up on the stage, and one of the biggest announcements there was Steven Spielberg in The Amazing Stories.
Right.
And they have finally announced when there's going to be a release date for it.
Oh, legit?
Yeah, so March 6th, they're going to have 5 episodes. And I imagine that they'll probably release more after that. But that's the official announcement. On March 6th, we will see some amazing stories.
Nice.
And there are several other shows that are actually coming out. One of them is The Banker. It's going to be their first movie, which was under some controversial type stuff because one of the actors in it had some legal problems.
Oh.
Of not the good nature at all.
Most legal problems aren't of the good nature.
Yeah, most. This one was not
This one definitely wasn't.
Yeah, so I guess they're going to go ahead and release that at some point soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they had it all done, but they were waiting for...
It's supposed to come out in January. That was supposed to be the big thing for January, because January is this huge lull in Apple TV Plus service. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
While we're on the topic of streaming, this is something that if it didn't work out to bring up, I wasn't going to, but I found a list of when all the new streaming services are going to be available.
Okay.
So in April, we'll get Peacock from Comcast, which is where Parks and Rec and Saturday Night Live are going to live. And when this newest Netflix Office contract runs out, it'll be on Peacock also. Unless Netflix somehow shells out another hundreds of millions of dollars. Quibi, QUIBI. Have you even heard of that one?
Mm-mm.
It's a new mobile-focused streaming service from Jeffrey Katzenberg and former eBay Hewlett-Packard CEO Meg Whitman.
Okay.
That's also in April. In May, we get HBO Max, which is where Friends and Game of Thrones is going to be.
Friends?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was big news early in 2019 because it dropped off Netflix and everyone was like, where'd it go? And it was because HBO Max bought it.
Weird.
Yeah. And so they bought it early just to lock it up for a year.
Huh. I didn't know that.
So, yeah, that's it. The only other thing it says is that Netflix had 17 Golden Globe nominations.
Oh.
Which is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Their programming is, their like on network programming is really solid.
Yeah. I heard that one thing that I heard was that they are going to double their French films. Which, that's great for the French.
Did you say French or Fringe?
French.
Like
French.
from France?
Yeah, France.
The Francais-speaking people?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, which is great for people who speak French.
Sure.
But not so good for people who speak English because it's probably going to be a lot of dub-overs or a lot of subtitles.
So, it could be a good time to start trying to learn French. I hear that there's no better way than just immersing yourself in the culture and watching film and reading the subtitles. Maybe you could learn. I will say, when I was in high school, remember Passion of the Christ?
Yeah.
And it was all in like Hebrew or Arabic or something, but the whole thing was subtitled.
Mm-hmm.
When I left that 3-hour movie, I thought that I could speak that language.
How'd that work out?
It didn't work out well at all. Because at some point I just convinced myself that I'm not really reading anymore. I'm mostly just watching the movie, but I was totally still reading.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Like, I don't really care for subtitles, but I find myself wanting to watch something so bad on Netflix. And there's a lot of subtitle stuff on Netflix now that I will put up with it. And then I find myself like watching the movie, not realizing that I'm reading the subtitles, but I'm reading the subtitles. And it's like at the start of it, it's like a challenge.
It's distracting.
Look at the words. Okay, what happened to the picture? Look at the words. What happened to the picture? And then like 15 minutes into it,
Your brain melds it together and it's fine. So weird. Actually, Laura and I watch everything with closed captioning on. I turn it off when I watch football because they usually put the box in a bad spot. But like, we watch everything with closed captioning
I guess it would give you an advantage of you wouldn't have to be like, well, what did they say?
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Which is a cool
because
feature.
We've never had anything where we could rewind.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got satellite or a cable version that lets you pause and rewind live TV, like, whatever, it's fine. But we've never had that. And so, yeah, with Netflix you can rewind. But even then, sometimes you still go back 3 or 4 times. Like, wait, what did they say?
Yeah.
And if you've got it on, we just never have to do that.
Yeah. With the Apple TV, you can hold down the SIri button and say, what did they say? What did she say? What did he say? And it'll go back, I think it's 30 seconds, pop on subtitles for just that particular time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat little feature. I don't use it that much, but there's times where I'm sitting there like, what the heck? What did that person say? So yeah, that's all I've got. How about you? This is like another short episode.
Yeah, I just didn't. Nothing struck my fancy this week. Like, I read a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it, like, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
okay. So I saw that Microsoft is kind of upping the ante on the carbon neutral thing that Amazon announced. They're going to go carbon negative.
Oh.
So apparently they've been carbon neutral or negative at all of their production facilities for a while. But there's the delivery fleet that factors in, right? Which is the same problem Amazon has.
Right.
But they're claiming that they're going to go negative company-wide, period.
Okay.
And so that's kind of exciting, but that's literally all I had to say about it. And so I've got tucked away in my brain, but I didn't put it in the show notes because it's not filling up 15 minutes or whatever. But yeah, there was just a bunch of little stuff. There was one more thing. I also saw, so I read about that in the Robin Hood snacks. Mm-hmm. There was something else in there, which is not really like tech related, but it kind of is. So all of the Boeing 737 MAX planes got grounded, right? Mm-hmm. United, Southwest, and American all used those planes. Delta is the only one of the big ones that doesn't use them. Mm-hmm. So they beat their quarterly profit expectations because they didn't have to ground any planes. And they also found some ways to like get you to upcharge without going absolute like first class. They've added some different seating things, but I just thought it was crazy that because the plane itself is a piece of technology,
right?
Like it's been engineered. There's clearly something wrong with it, and so just because these other three major competitors use them and you don't, which at some point that decision was made, or maybe it was lack of making a decision, which is still a decision, but like you don't have them,
right? And
now you're benefiting hugely from that, and that's crazy. But again, I don't have a whole bunch to say about that. But I'm sure that their stock's going up.
Oh, I bet.
Because anytime an airline especially beats profits, then that's good. I got crazy tech, amazing tech inside my DNA. Phone comes in 2-piece, you fold that screen inside my DNA. I got power cords and USBs inside my DNA. I got hustle though and 5G flows inside my DNA.
Whoop, whoop. That was a good one, Chad. Nice. In one take. That was great.
The part I was worried about was starting the music right on time, because that's a song that the words in the music start. There's no run in.
Yes.
Like it's just, here it goes.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was a good one. We haven't heard a rapping Chad in a while.
It has been a minute. It's been a minute, yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, I have, this is crazy tech. I don't know if we said it was crazy tech, but this is crazy tech.
Crazy tech. You know what it is.
You know what it is. So, I have talked about for a while, oh God, I did it again. I have talked about for a while, the 5G, eventually getting routers into a house that are like run off cell phone towers.
Oh my God,
right?
I thought you mistyped this in the notes.
No. This is cool. So I've thought for a long time, cell phone signals getting so fast, and with 5G being so fast, why don't we just have a router sitting in our house, or a modem that captures the 5G and then spits it out like Wi-Fi does with a regular router?
Sure.
So not everybody needs, fiber optic directly to their house to play some intense online gaming. That's the only justification that I ever see for like extremely fast speeds, other than a business, or if you're doing a lot of like video like uploading.
Sure.
Because video downloading, really, we do that over 4G all the time.
All the time.
So with 5G coming out being so fast, why don't we have this? Well, there is a company called Razer that basically, they unveiled their first 5G, they call it a gaming router, which I'm sure the gamers are like, whatever. So, but I thought it was interesting that they call it a gaming router, but I'm assuming Razer is a company that has something to do with a lot of gaming stuff.
So that's the part that I thought you mistyped, because I didn't click into it and look at it. But I thought you were going to talk about the Razer from Motorola.
Oh, okay.
R-A-Z-R.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, or like the Razer scooters.
Oh, right. So this is R-A-Z-E-R.
Yes. And so essentially it literally looks like an Amazon Echo.
Yeah.
And it captures 5G signal, and it has some network plugs in the back, and it will act as your Wi-Fi router also. So whenever you've got this at your house, you just basically use it just like you would if you had fiber optic or cable running into your house, but instead of receiving it through a wire, you're just receiving it through wirelessly. So this is kind of like the first thing that we've seen for what I would consider people who are going to be rural areas that don't get a direct line but still want to do high-speed stuff. So this would help people who want a game that don't have a really good internet connection. When 5G rolls out, here's proof that companies are working on these hotspots for your house that act as normal routers.
So the router, it's called the SILA or SILA, S-I-L-A 5G home router.
Yes.
It says here that in 2018 they launched their first wireless mesh gaming router, the SILA. So like, this is something that they've been in.
Yeah, I guess it is something that they've been in.
But now it's just going to be pulling in, instead of pulling a hardwired and spreading it across your home.
Yeah.
It's going to be pulling in this 5G cell network. So that's kind of, it's mostly proven tech. And so I guess whether or not the gamers, obviously it still exists, so the gamers must be using it.
Well, here's the deal. I know that we work with some people who are really hardcore gamers.
Yeah.
And they...
Like the people who think that if it's not on a computer, it's not real gaming.
Yes. And they swear that if it's not hardwired, it's pointless. You're going to get lag. But I watch my daughter play Fortnite and other games on her cell phone and have a blast. Like, doesn't care. I think the community that is playing that doesn't care about this super minute latency and super high frame rate and all of this tweaking and modifying. I think the community that doesn't care about that is so much bigger than the community that does. Now, I'm not saying that the community that does is small, but I think they're not small and they're not wrong. Right.
If you care about it, you care, and that's all that matters.
100%. Yeah. And it is better, right?
Obviously.
But I think that there is a market out there that is gigantic.
Well,
that doesn't focus on that.
Your daughter knows that she's not getting to the World Series of Fortnite.
Right. Well,
on her mobile phone.
She might. I don't know.
She might think she might?
She might.
But she's not.
I mean, she calls herself Kate the Beast.
Oh, yeah? God, she's so tiny. I love that.
She is Beast. She is actually wicked good at it. When I say wicked good, let's put this into perspective. I tried to play it the other day, and I died super fast.
You're too old.
Well, the problem is that she plays it on her phone. So it's all touchscreen, which she did just order with her money, a PlayStation 4 controller, because you can do that. You can hook those up to iPhone devices and Apple TVs. And I was trying to do the touchscreen thing, and it's just like it doesn't work for me. But she grew up.
Right.
That's all she's done.
Yeah.
She's picked up a controller like on a Wii and a Game Boy a handful of times, but she goes back to her touchscreen.
Right.
So, but anyways, she might go to the World Series. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know how this works, Chet. But I did see this the other day. Fortnite, this is on the gaming topic too. Fortnite for the iPad did come out with 120 frames per second, which was a pretty big deal, I guess. Because I guess that's what a lot of gamers want to run at. Higher frame rate, the better.
Sure. Okay.
So, I think right now it runs at 60.
Oh.
And so it's like, I think it doubled the frame rate, which was a pretty big deal.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So, soon, we'll be using 5G instead of wired connections to play our Fortnite games.
Probably.
Yeah. I don't know how much this is going to be. They didn't say. It's just been announced at CES.
Interesting.
Yeah. Did you have one?
I have potentially two.
Oh.
But I think I'm going to go with the lower probability one. Because that's crazier.
It's crazy.
And this is crazy tech.
Let's do
it. China, the country, is wanting to connect Beijing to London with a high-speed train.
Oh, like a bullet type train?
High speed. They haven't ironed out all the
names.
wrinkles. Yeah.
Might be a pellet train.
And so it says how to deal with the inevitable headaches of a 17-country train. Offer to pick up the tab. So yeah, if you're gonna pay for everything, then you're a lot more likely to get people
17 countries
between London and China. Yeah. So they said this is from PopSci online. They said China would pay for the build and the infrastructure in exchange for rights to any natural resources that they come across in the path. So timber, minerals, anything like that between here and there. If they have to go through a mountain, anything that comes out of that mountain.
They're going to try to go through all the diamond mountains and all the gold mountains.
Right, yeah. And so at the end of this article,
nuclear silo.
Right. I think it was 12 different things they were ranking here. PopSci predicts possible but unlikely. So probably not going to happen. But that'd be pretty neat if you could hop on a train and go from Beijing to London. Because Beijing is like the farthest south and east you can get pretty much in China. And London is about the farthest north and west you can get in Europe.
I would be really
Plus,
nervous.
to get to London, you've got to cross the Bering Strait. There's a strait between France and England.
Yeah.
You got to cross.
Would you be nervous going on that train?
No. Why?
I would just be worried that, like, since you're going through 17 countries, that one of them is going to act like it's the Wild Wild West and try to, like, jump on the train. I mean, I know it's going super
200
fast.
miles an hour.
Like, remove a piece of the track or, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'd rather be in the air.
Yeah, but trains are cheaper.
This is true. I don't know why they're cheaper. So much infrastructure. Maybe that's just because once you get the infrastructure built.
Jet fuel?
They just,
Jet fuel's expensive.
They don't fall out of the air.
They really don't.
Yeah.
I think you can get more people on a train than a plane.
I guess that's true, too. Sell more tickets.
Yeah. Whoa. That scared the snot out of me. Your gas engine's never kicked on before while we were recording.
You jumped in.
I thought we were going.
You thought we were going to die.
We were going.
Well, anyways, I'm going to shut the car off.
Jeez.
Yep, car's shut off now. Now we have no heat, but it's warm in here now.
It is warm in here now.
But anyways, that's all I got for this week.
Same.
Yeah, it's a short week. Maybe there'll be some big news over the next week.
Yeah.
I have my doubts.
CES was fun and exciting. I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah.
And so it was like all of a sudden all of this stuff.
Yeah, and this is kind of a weird time. Like, to me, like, CES had some good stuff, but now we're in this, like, weird transition trying to survive to get through spring, right? Because it's cold in most places.
Nobody's talking about it. I mean, I guess Samsung has their event in February.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
So that's good.
We can talk about that.
The Super Bowl's coming up.
We can talk about that. Okay, so there are things.
There are things coming.
Yeah.
But
all right, well, I guess that's it. Where can they find us, Chad?
You can find us on the internet at LunchTimeTechTalk.com. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram at Lunchtime Tech Talk. You can also find us on Patreon at Lunchtime Tech Talk. You can join Josh and give us $1 every month. It's $12 a year. That's less than 2 cups of coffee because everybody likes to compare everything to coffee for whatever reason. You can find us on Twitter at LunchTimeTechT1. You can find me on Twitter at MSUMac. That's MSUMACC. Mike, where you at?
You can find me on Twitter at run_bike_Mike. And you can find me pretty much everywhere else. Zwift, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. Facebook at RunBikeMike. And I'm only 5 subscribers away from 200.
What?
Yes! 195.
Man, I haven't been keeping track.
It's hard because it's been slow the last couple like a week or so.
That damn algorithm.
I know. It's figured me out. It's like you're making it big.
Speaking of the algorithm, right? You're almost to 200 subscribers. You son of a. We've been talking about it off mic. What do you think the deal is with that Face App episode of ours? Yeah,
that's crazy. So, if you guys have been with us for quite a while, whoever is listening, if you've been with us since the beginning, you heard an episode called E-Bikes and Face App. I believe that was the actual name. think it was episode 23.
We recorded it in the Drury parking lot.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That episode has over doubled the downloads of every other episode.
Yeah. And, like, not the week it was released. Like, it just keeps, month after month, like, it just keeps getting downloads.
Yeah, so...
for whatever reason.
If you started listening to our podcast because of that episode...
let us know why.
Let us know why, because we're really curious.
Yeah.
Why?
How did you find it?
Yes.
What triggered you?
Yes, and also, if you found us on a Facebook sponsored ad, let us know too, because...
we bought ads last week.
We bought an ad because we wanted to get it out to more people.
Yeah.
And I think... I didn't really know how all of it works, so this was an experiment.
Uh-huh.
And I guess it only went to people in Missouri.
Oh, sick.
We love Missouri. This is where we live. But when I wanted to change it...
most Facebook businesses makes sense, because they're usually like local boutique selling things. But
I would have had to have spent significant more money.
We love our English friends, too.
Yes. So if you were from Missouri and you were one of the people that clicked on the link...
who got spammed by our Facebook ad. Let us know.
And you listened to this episode and you subscribed, let us know.
Yeah.
We'd like to know if it actually worked.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I guess that's it. Until next week.
Until next week.
See you guys later.
Bye.